Hello everybody, my name is Dalton Lee, and today I will be talking about an ethical issue that occurred in my workplace, and which ethical theory best applies to the workplace incident. Before I proceed any further, I would first like to mention that my job at the company has always been a work-from-home job. The ethical issue has to do with an incident that occurred virtually on a software that the company utilizes to perform and complete our everyday tasks. In this next slide, I will be talking about today's agenda in my presentation. I will be going over the following: an introduction to the company's background, the incident itself, the ethical theory that ties into the incident, and the conclusion of final thoughts toward the workplace incident. First, I would like to start off by going into a little bit of the background of what the company I work for does and what led to the workplace incident. The company I work for is in charge of processing grant and loan applications for small business owners across the United States. I was part of the sales team, and our everyday tasks included emailing applicants to request additional documentation, uploading the documentation into our systems, and properly notating the receipt of all the necessary paperwork. We notate the receipt of the necessary paperwork in the software by marking the applications into the nurturing status. This action of changing the application status to nurturing will be more important when I get into the details of the work incident that occurred. As we started processing applications for a new grant program, upper management thought that it would be a great idea to start an incentive program for our team, which consisted of about 70 members at the time of the incident. The winner of this incentive program would be decided by the number of applications that were put into the nurturing status, as I mentioned earlier, by that specific team member. Little did everybody know that there was a scheme brewing amongst a number of our sales team members. As we reached the final days of the incentive program, my fellow team members and I were working diligently to get as many applications into the nurturing status. However, one individual decided to take an easier route to increase his number of completed applications. Let's call him Fred. Fred abused the software system by putting the applications he was working on into the nurturing status before having actually completed the necessary tasks to fulfill these applications. By doing this, the count of completed applications went up for Fred, which applied to his total number of completed applications toward the incentive program. What's worse is that Fred decided to include two other sales members, one of them being his own team leader. The takeaway of Fred's actions is that his intent was only to benefit himself over the rest of his team members, and even the company. The main ethical issue that was present in this incident was the abuse of the company software to bolster one's own position in a competition. This issue made it unfair to the rest of the sales team because it delayed the delivery of the incentive bonus and created further skepticism within the entire program. The ethical issue that occurred at the workplace totally contradicts the concept of utilitarianism, which is the idea that actions are moral and right if they are useful or they are beneficial to a majority of the group. Obviously, Fred only had his best interests in mind so that he can take the highest amount of rewards all for himself from the incentive program. He also only thought of his own well-being when he decided to drag his own two team members into his scheme. I believe that utilitarianism is the most ideal ethical theory to take into account when dealing with this issue. Let me tell you what I learned about utilitarianism. In today's ethical standards, utilitarianism states that when making moral decisions, we are advised to select the option which produces the greatest amount of good for the greatest number of people. In other words, if the balance of good or usefulness outweighs that of evil or harm, then the choice is a moral one. On the contrary, if the balance of evil outweighs good, then the choice is immoral. Now, you may be thinking, isn't the incentive program designed to only benefit one particular individual for his or her performance? The answer is no. The individual may receive a bonus for their hard work, but regardless, the individual and the rest of the team members are contributing their hard work and dedication to the company to achieve that bonus. In other words, the incentive program was intended to produce the greatest amount of good, which would be the benefit from all the work that the team members gave to the company for the greatest number of people, which would be the company as a whole. However, the choice made by Fred neither benefited the company nor its people, which led to the conclusion that his choice was immoral. Ultimately, if Fred had a utilitarian mindset, the entire issue may have been avoided, as he would have considered his surroundings before making any kind of decision. And that will conclude my presentation for today. I want to thank you for your time and consideration, and please reach out to me if you have any further questions. Thank you.